Alright, this morning we are back out in Kingwood again, just in here off of Woodland Grove, I don't know, Drive or Parkway something. Anyway, we've got bees in this window box, and you can see the box itself does not stick out that far off the house really. He said they had a different guy come by that had a thermal camera, and all the heat signature that he saw was in the window box, which maybe, okay, but he also said they've been here for 7 years. So they're just going in here underneath where it's rotted out a little bit, but you can see looking through the window, that window box is very deep. It's like 14 inches deep, so it sticks out off the front of the house about, I don't know, 6-8 inches at most, but then the wall is also thicker too, so it's believable that they could all be just in the window box. We're actually going to try to access this one through the inside versus the outside to hopefully avoid tearing off any of the trim outside and the brick. So we're going to go in and cut a couple exploration holes through the drywall on the backside and see what we see. Alright, we got them cut open here, and unfortunately there is a 2x6 right there across the way, so we can't cut all the combs out of the window box from the backside like we were hoping. I kind of figured that'd be the case, but we are going to go ahead and get all this honey out from behind the brick. You can see they actually went to the left past the window, and they go all the way down to the other end, and actually further on that end I can see residue from where they used to have combs, and then the wax moths came through and cleaned it all up. So we're going to cut all this out for right now, just to kind of get started on cutting, and then we'll go outside and open up below that window box and cut out all the rest of it.
So what happens when you leave it?
Yeah.
Yours.
Okay, so we're outside now. I'll show you inside here in a little bit when I go back in there, but we went ahead and cut out everything that was down behind the brick and the sheetrock. And so now all we're left with is everything that's up in here, which is this whole window box is full. And it actually worked really well as far as how the trim was put up, because the trim went right up against the bottom, so I didn't have to knock out any brick on the outside to pull the trim down. So we've got a decent little avenue here. It's just going to be a little awkward laying on my back and doing it, but we're going to start cutting all this out, working the bees down to the end where their entrance was at, and see if we can't start to catch them and vacuum them up. Got that queen! Let's cut this off. I just caught her. I was just mentioning to the homeowner that how I was kind of working the bees back, and I'll show you guys that in a second here. And I pulled down a comb, and I mean, honest to God, did not expect to see her, because it was, you know, I just smoked them really heavy to try to run them off that comb, and figured I'd push her all the way to the end. Pulled it down, just took a glance at it, and there she was, as big as could be. So this hive has what looked like swarm cells to me. So she's probably the new queen, because their swarm cells they're pretty freshly emerged, and I'm finding some eggs, but not a lot. I'm finding a lot of backfilled comb, and not a whole lot of brood. So I think she must be a pretty new queen. But anyway, we've been working from the outside. Hopefully, I hope the homeowner got some pictures of me. I had myself wrapped up in this tarp like a hot dog because I was cutting that honey and it was dripping on me. So that's a first. But we got all the honey cut out on this end until we started getting to the old dark brood comb where you see the bees are clustered. And then I came around back to the other side just to make sure, because it seems like there's not very many of them at all. And so I was afraid they were starting to crawl up inside the wall somewhere. So I came back around to this side. This was where their main entrance was at, and I started cutting these combs and pushing them back towards the middle. And so that's where we're at now. So I just caught that queen, and so now we can kind of hustle things up a little bit, hurry up and vacuum bees and cut out the rest of these combs. We've got a bunch running around in here inside the window. We'll go back inside. We'll make sure everything's cleaned up really well, make sure there's no bees crawling around that we can anyway. Vacuum up, and then we'll be out of here. Alrighty, so that's it for this one. Turned out to be quite a bit more work than I expected, but I mean, that's okay. When I originally bid it, he didn't tell me 7 years, but hey, man of my word. So I threw the price at him and worked through it, and it really wasn't that bad. Honestly, probably the worst part was laying down here on the ground, like I said, wrapped up in a tarp, because this window is just the right height that, you know, sitting on the ground isn't comfortable. Laying down was a little uncomfortable, but, you know, obviously couldn't stand or kneel. So anyway, it all worked out, and I'm really, really grateful, like I said, that I caught the queen as easy as I did, because it was a big hive. We pulled out 4 buckets full of comb that you can see up in here now. The honeycombs are all the way down to this end, and of course ran all the way to the opposite end. So we've got everybody out of there vacuumed up. The homeowners in there cleaning up now best they can. A couple little, focus. Oh, it's even worse. Oh, I think I just broke my camera. There we go. So yeah, a couple little scouts still just flying around there. I just sprayed everything with repellent, so that'll run them off. But all in all, pretty simple. The repair from the outside is just going to be to get a board and nail right back up underneath it here and silicone it. So that's really good. It's a really easy repair. It's weatherproof right now, so even if we get a rain, we're not going to get water in the house. So all around, I'm really, really happy with that. Happy I didn't have to get up, you know, up into here and the sides of the windows. And inside's just going to be an easy sheetrock repair. So we're out of here.